In San Jose, California stands a 24,000 square foot architectural fever dream featuring staircases that end at ceilings, doorways opening to solid walls, and windows installed into floors. Because, you see, while most mansions are built to impress the neighbors, the Winchester Mystery House was built to confuse the dead. Created by a grieving widow with unlimited rifle fortune money and zero architectural training, this 160-room labyrinth has absolutely zero logical floor plan. With construction continuing 24 hours a day for 36 years, workers followed Sarah Winchester's hand-drawn sketches, sometimes tearing down and rebuilding areas multiple times to satisfy her ever-changing vision. The result is a Victorian mansion where German chandeliers illuminate doorways leading nowhere, where a 44-step staircase rises just 10 feet, and where Shakespearean quotes etched in glass overlook rooms. Today we'll explore how Sarah Winchester's decades-long construction project became America's most profitable architectural mistake, a house where getting lost isn't just possible, it's practically guaranteed. Step inside the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California, and you'll immediately encounter an architectural anomaly that defies conventional design logic, while simultaneously dazzling with its Victorian extravagance. This sprawling mansion spans a massive 24,000 square feet, containing 160 rooms that include 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 47 fireplaces, 13 bathrooms, and 6 kitchens. What truly distinguishes this architectural curiosity aren't its expansive proportions, but rather its bewildering interior layout, featuring staircases that abruptly end at ceilings, doorways opening directly into solid walls, and windows bizarrely installed in floors, design choices that make modern open-concept homes seem painfully conventional. The ballroom showcases extraordinary craftsmanship, with carved wood adorning walls and ceilings, while precious woods including teak, maple, and mahogany form intricate patterns across the floor, demonstrating a level of detail rarely seen in contemporary construction. 2 windows flanking the impressive brick fireplace feature Shakespearean quotes from Richard II and Troilus and Cressida etched into the glass, literary flourishes suggesting refined tastes beyond mere ostentation. Second-floor bedrooms each adjoin sitting rooms and sewing rooms, all adorned with fashionable Lincruster wall coverings that mimic leather or metal finishes, topped with ceilings featuring moldings, stencils, and faux painting techniques. The mansion's windows represent another distinctive element, with pastel-colored asymmetrical designs featuring sharp bevels throughout, while upper-level windows incorporate fashionable spider-web tracery that filtered light in ways calculated to create specific atmospheric effects. German chandeliers illuminate rooms filled with Austrian art glass, Asian furnishings, and French paintings, a cosmopolitan collection assembled decades before global design became commonplace. Advanced technology for its era appears throughout the property: push-button gas lighting controls, forced air heating, indoor plumbing with running water, and an early form of intercom called an annunciator for summoning servants. One innovative indoor garden incorporates slanted floors, directing excess water to trap doors, with pipes supplying outdoor plantings, a surprisingly modern approach to resource conservation. The famous staircase with 44 steps rising only 10 feet features extremely shallow risers, designed for the diminutive 4-foot 10-inch owner who suffered from arthritis and mobility issues that made standard stairs challenging to navigate. Barred windows appearing inexplicably within interior walls were once exterior features, sealed off as the house expanded outward, architectural fossils preserving evidence of the building's evolution. Doors that open to sheer drops, staircases ending abruptly in mid-air, and pipes protruding randomly from walls stand as remnants of the devastating 1906 San Francisco earthquake, which collapsed the original 7-story tower and destroyed several wings that were never rebuilt. The architectural style combines Victorian and Gothic elements with Queen Anne Revival features, creating a structure with pitched rooflines, numerous gables, ornate trim, and the distinctive red brick with limestone accents characteristic of upper-class residences from that period. Some rooms appear surprisingly small, despite the mansion's overall grandeur, with low ceilings and compact proportions that feel almost claustrophobic compared to the soaring spaces everywhere in the house, a jarring juxtaposition that adds to the property's disorienting effect. Moving through the house feels increasingly disorienting as conventional spatial relationships break down, with rooms connecting in unexpected ways and hallways that seem to circle back upon themselves despite appearing straight, architectural misdirection that would impress the designers of modern escape rooms. The mansion's constant shifts in level require navigating small steps up and down between rooms, creating a subtle but persistent sense of disorientation, further enhanced by variations in ceiling height and lighting conditions. Touring the Winchester Mystery House leaves even experienced architects questioning their understanding of residential design principles. Is this simply an eccentric wealthy woman's architectural folly, or something more deliberate and calculated in its rejection of conventional spatial logic? To truly comprehend this architectural enigma, we must travel back to its origins and the troubled mind of Sarah Winchester, whose immense inheritance from the rifle fortune that bears her name financed this never-ending construction project with its roots in both personal tragedy and possibly supernatural fear. The Winchester Mystery House began as something far more modest, an 8-room farmhouse purchased in 1886 by Sarah Lockwood Winchester, a grieving widow whose name would become inseparable from one of America's most enigmatic architectural creations. Born in 1839 in New Haven, Connecticut, Sarah married William Wirt Winchester in 1862, joining the family behind the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, manufacturers of the gun that won the West and suppliers of thousands of rifles during the American Civil War and Western expansion. Tragedy struck the couple in 1866 when their only child, Annie, died from marasmus just 6 weeks after birth, the first devastating blow in what would become a lifetime marked by loss and sorrow. The second crushing tragedy came in 1881 when William succumbed to tuberculosis, leaving Sarah not only emotionally shattered but suddenly one of America's wealthiest women, inheriting approximately $20 million, the equivalent to hundreds of millions today, plus nearly 50% ownership of the Winchester Company. This immense fortune generated an income reported at $1,000 daily, an almost unfathomable sum in the 19th century that would provide the seemingly limitless funds for her decades-long building project. According to the most popular origin story, the bereaved Sarah sought guidance from a Boston medium who delivered disturbing news. The Winchester family was cursed by the spirits of those killed by their rifles, with these vengeful ghosts having already claimed a husband and daughter. The medium supposedly warned that Sarah would be next unless she moved west and built a house continuously to appease and confuse these spirits, with construction needing to continue without interruption lest she met the same fate as her loved ones. Although this supernatural narrative appears in most accounts of the Winchester house, historians note there is no record of the alleged medium named Adam Coons practicing in Boston at that time, and Sarah's personal correspondence never mentions spiritualist motivations. A more pragmatic explanation for Sarah's move to California in 1885 involves her doctor's recommendation to seek a warmer climate for her worsening rheumatoid arthritis, combined with positive memories of previous visits to San Francisco with her husband. Whatever truly motivated her relocation, Sarah purchased an unassuming farmhouse near San Jose and began what would become a 36-year construction project, employing shifts of carpenters working around the clock to implement her ever-evolving vision. Having developed an interest in architecture while building a home with her husband in New Haven, Sarah eschewed professional architects after initially hiring and quickly dismissing them, preferring to serve as her own designer despite having no formal training. Her design process proved highly unconventional. She would sketch room additions on scraps of paper and present them to workers each morning, leaving no comprehensive blueprints or master plans for what would become an increasingly complex structure. The house evolved organically without central architectural organization, expanding outward in multiple directions simultaneously, with Sarah reportedly guided by her personal aesthetic preferences and subscription to architectural journals rather than supernatural instructions. While popular accounts depict Sarah as mentally unstable and driven by superstition, contemporary descriptions from neighbors and employees portray her as unusually sensible and focused on practical matters of design and construction rather than spiritual concerns. Despite her enormous wealth, Sarah maintained an intensely private lifestyle, twice declining to host visiting American presidents at her estate and rarely entertaining guests, behavior that fueled speculation about her mental state and possible supernatural preoccupations. The absence of a master plan explains many of the house's puzzling features, with rooms connecting in haphazard ways and additions built wherever Sarah determined they should go rather than according to conventional architectural principles. From a modest farmhouse to an architectural labyrinth, the Winchester Mystery House stands as perhaps America's most extraordinary example of residential architecture designed by a single, untrained individual with unlimited resources and independence from conventional restraints. During its heyday from 1886 until 1922, the Winchester Mystery House underwent constant metamorphosis through a construction process unlike any other in architectural history. Sarah Winchester employed a team of between 16 and 22 carpenters at any given time, with popular accounts claiming they worked in shifts around the clock, though historical evidence suggests more conventional daytime labor with occasional pauses during particularly hot summers. Each morning, Sarah would meet her foreman and present hand-drawn sketches for new additions or modifications, launching a day of sawing, hammering, and construction that would gradually transform a simple farmhouse into a sprawling mansion of bizarre proportions. Without professional architectural plans, workers followed Sarah's direct instructions, sometimes tearing down and rebuilding areas multiple times if they failed to meet her exacting standards, an expensive approach only possible for someone with seemingly unlimited funds. A newspaper report from 1897 described a 7-story tower being demolished and rebuilt 16 times, illustrating both Sarah's perfectionism and her willingness to discard completed work that didn't satisfy her vision. The construction frenzy reached its peak before 1906, with the house eventually containing approximately 500 rooms at its largest extent, though many would later be destroyed or sealed off, leaving the 160 rooms visible today. As rooms multiplied, so did their functions. The house eventually contained multiple kitchens, numerous bathrooms with advanced plumbing fixtures, specialized storage areas, servants' quarters, and spaces for Sarah's various interests including gardening and music. Expensive materials flowed constantly onto the property, with exotic woods, imported tiles, custom glass, and specialized hardware arriving daily to be incorporated into the ever-expanding structure without concern for cost or practicality. Workers installed elaborate built-in cabinetry, decorative woodwork, and custom fixtures throughout the house, creating a level of craftsmanship rarely seen in modern construction and employing specialized artisans for particularly detailed elements. The development proceeded without the oversight or approval of regulatory agencies that would govern modern construction, allowing Sarah complete freedom to implement unusual features that might not pass today's building codes. The architectural freedom produced some of the house's most unusual elements: staircases with dozens of tiny steps, secret passageways, hidden rooms, and windows positioned to create specific lighting effects at certain times of day. The defining catastrophe in the mansion's evolution came at 5:17 in the morning on April 18, 1906, when the Great San Francisco earthquake violently shook the structure, causing massive damage that would permanently alter its configuration. The tremors collapsed the 7-story tower entirely, destroying several wings and caused structural damage throughout the mansion, reportedly trapping Sarah in her bedroom until workers could free her from the debris. Rather than fully rebuilding damaged sections, Sarah ordered many areas simply sealed off, creating some of the architectural anomalies still visible today: doors opening to nowhere, staircases terminating abruptly, and windows overlooking interior spaces rather than the outdoors. After the earthquake, construction focused primarily on the rear portions of the property, with Sarah seemingly less interested in expansive additions and more concerned with maintaining existing spaces as her health gradually declined. By 1910, the pace of the building had slowed considerably, with Sarah spending more time at her other properties in Atherton and Burlingame, though modifications to the San Jose mansion continued on a reduced scale. As Sarah aged, particularly after 1900 when her health issues intensified, construction became more pragmatic, adding an elevator in 1916 to accommodate her mobility challenges and making modifications to existing spaces rather than major expansions. By 1922, when Sarah died of heart failure at age 83, the once frenetic building activity had diminished to basic maintenance, though legend persists that construction continued until the very day of her death, instantly ceasing when news of her passing reached the workmen. Following her death on September 7, 1922, the Hammers fell silent for the first time in 36 years, leaving behind an architectural anomaly that would soon transition from private obsession to public curiosity, a transformation that would cement its reputation as America's most mysterious mansion, through clever marketing rather than supernatural manifestations. 9 months after Sarah Winchester's death, an investment group with remarkable foresight purchased her architectural oddity, recognizing its potential as a tourist attraction in the rapidly motorizing America of the 1920s. John and Mamie Brown leased the property from these investors, opening it to the public in 1923 and crafting a marketing narrative that emphasized supernatural elements while downplaying the more pragmatic explanations for the house's unusual features. As the mansion's first tour guide, Mamie Brown established many of the ghost stories and legends that persist today. Despite protests from Sarah's actual friends, neighbors, and former employees who insisted their employer had been clear-headed and rational rather than superstitious. The property received a significant boost in 1924 when famed illusionist Harry Houdini briefly visited while investigating spiritualism, with some accounts suggesting he coined the Winchester Mystery House moniker that has since become its globally recognized brand. By the 1970s, when former Disneyland employee Keith Kittle became general manager, the property had fallen into disrepair, prompting extensive renovations and an aggressive advertising campaign featuring highway billboards with silhouetted houses and promises of paranormal encounters. Today, the Winchester Mystery House operates as a California historical landmark, number 969, and appears on the National Register of Historic Places, balancing its identity as both serious architectural treasure and commercially successful haunted house. Visitors can choose from several tour options, including the standard mansion tour, covering approximately 110 rooms, the more specialized Explore More tour, accessing previously restricted areas, and the Walk with Spirits tour, emphasizing paranormal aspects. Professional guides follow carefully scripted presentations that perpetuate the supernatural narrative, with one guide reportedly lamenting, "I feel so torn because I have to tell people untruths. Every time I have to talk about 13s and other kooky things, my heart breaks a little for Sarah." Halloween brings special programming that amplifies the haunted house theme, with Lost in the House tours offering theatrical paranormal experiences and seasonal events providing additional revenue streams beyond standard admission fees. The gift shop capitalizes on supernatural themes with ghost-related merchandise alongside more educational materials about Victorian architecture and the Winchester family history, creating a commercial ecosystem that extends the visitor experience beyond the tour itself. Corporate and private events now animate spaces once jealously guarded from public view, with weddings, receptions, and business functions utilizing the gardens and selected interior rooms for atmospheric gatherings that provide significant supplemental income. Educational programs for school groups attempt to balance entertainment value with historical information, though the supernatural narrative typically predominates over more nuanced discussions of Victorian architecture or Sarah Winchester's actual life story. The property's cultural footprint extends far beyond physical visits, with appearances in countless documentaries, paranormal investigation shows, novels, and the 2018 horror film Winchester starring Helen Mirren as Sarah, adaptations that typically amplify supernatural elements while minimizing historical context. Ghost hunters and paranormal investigators regularly descend on the property, seeking evidence of supernatural activity, reporting cold spots, mysterious footsteps, slamming doors, and spectral figures that contribute to its reputation as America's most haunted house. Skeptical researchers like Joe Nickel have offered logical explanations for these phenomena, noting that large, rambling old houses naturally produce temperature variations, odd noises from settling, and visual illusions in dimly lit spaces, mundane factors that nonetheless fail to dampen enthusiasm for ghostly interpretations. Digital marketing has expanded the Winchester Mystery House brand globally through virtual tours, social media campaigns, and online gift shops that reach potential visitors far beyond San Jose, ensuring steady tourism despite changing travel patterns and competing attractions. The Winchester Mystery House, LLC, currently owned by descendants of the Browns, carefully maintains the property's physical structure while perpetuating its supernatural mythology, recognizing that ghost stories sell tickets more effectively than architectural preservation narratives. An estimated 12 million visitors have toured the mansion since it opened to the public, making it one of the most successful examples of architectural preservation through commercialization, a business model that has ensured its survival while other historic homes have deteriorated or disappeared. With that said, we'd love to see you in the comments. Have you visited the Winchester Mystery House? And if so, did you feel any supernatural presence? Or do you think its reputation is simply brilliant marketing of architectural eccentricity? Thank you for watching another episode of Old Money Mansions. Until our next architectural adventure together, cheers!